Ashaiman area as it continues the store of the Greater Accra region.
Tamawai refinery, Aluwex, Valco, Nina, Yebe Peja Nina, na Yejuma, 24 hours, no beer, I watch Shaman and Yajumani Bia.
We've got details of all of these stories and more coming up for you here on the Starr Midday News. Stay tuned.
Starr News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, My Star Radio in the USA, also live on Facebook on Starr 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Starr 103.5 FM. Starr News. Informed, in depth, in touch.
Thank you very much once again for joining us here on the Starr Midday News. The bulletin is streaming live on Facebook. We're also live on starfm.com.gh. My name is Lantam Papanko. The Ghana Meteorological Agency has attributed the massive devastation of farms in the northern sector to the northern sector drought to disregard of its warnings given to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture and farmers against planting of crops. The government has been compelled to ban the export of grains following the long span of drought up north. However, this has threatened the livelihood of farmers nationwide. In the Dafiama Busie Isa district of the Upper West region, at least 800 peasant farmers have been affected by the dry spell. Focal person of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Lawi Bonzo Vincent, has been explaining the plight of the farmers to Starr News.
Almost all our farmers, they are crying. So it's even this day that is even better. So those days, farmers will go to the farm and come back and be crying. Even some to the extent that some people, their BP, they have sent to the hospital for order to manage their BP. It's a very terrible issue in Upper West, that DPI. It's very, very, very serious.
See, and how many farmers have been affected by this dry spell? And how many hectares of land are we talking about?
Yeah, for us, we are not able to capture all the district, entire district. So our membership as the Peasant Farmers Association, so we can talk about our own. There are about 800 farmers that have been registered official with peasant farmers in the district. So these are the data that we are having. But we represent the entire farmers in the district. A lot of them, we couldn't even get the data. So now we are still compiling the list. But for now, we can talk about 800 farmers or our members that have been affected by the list. And then they go beyond the peasant farmers. Everybody, most of them, about 90% of the farmers in DBI is being affected.
But the National Food Suppliers Association is backing government for the drastic move. According to the General Secretary, Patrick Efa, there is the need to focus on feeding citizens first.
Internally, I agree with that because we have to feed ourselves first before outside. Though we may say, to bring revenue, that's okay. That's 100% correct. But if we are not satisfied, how can you send somebody outside? Your family, you are starving. You say you are going to give the food you have to somebody outside. So, that's my view. I believe and I strongly support that we should maintain what we have here now for the season that we are in. Afterwards, we can lift it, everybody can do export. Because export is very important because you also get revenue to pushing our dollar and the rest. So we should look at the urgency of it and the need for it. If it's automatic or the need is so much crucial, then we should maintain and sustain what they have brought.
Some of the farmers are a bit worried about having these grains in here and not being able to get the right price for the grains. If government buys it at the right price, they will sell it to government. What do you make of that posturing?
Yes, it's pricing in Ghana here is very crucial, But let's look at the effect that the situation is going to have on Ghanaians. Excuse me, you can sell your thing outside, you get your profit and the rest. You are individual. How much beneficial is it to the whole nation? In terms of situation, that's why even in law, when the situation comes, we don't look at individuals. We look at the whole country. So if individuals are going to benefit to the detriment of the whole nation, no, let's consider our situation now.
Well, Patrick Effa is also predicting a hike in the prices of food due to the phenomenon.
And then you can't do anything about it. However, we have storage facilities in Ghana that when food is in abundance, we buy them and store. As business people, as suppliers as we are, we have our strategies and we have our plans. And so before the thing starts, we already made our provisions. And then it's left with the government also to make its provisions. Because we as business people, we cannot control the weather, and it will have effect on our supply, of course, it will. But what is going to happen is it's going to shoot prices up because demand will be higher than supply. And so at times those of us who have storage facilities that we store items, we get the opportunity, we get the advantage. So with this situation happening, I believe immediately some steps should be taken by the state to ameliorate the situation, to see how we can cushion the system. Because the drought has happened about a month or two ago that the drought started. And if you look at the planting season and the period in the north, that time was the planting time when the drought started. So it has delayed the planting. However, if we should rain from now going, that means they have to start planting from now.
Well, the Ghana Meteorological Agency says it had issued warnings ahead of the planting season, which could have addressed the issue in time. GMET is, however, optimistic that the drought will be over in the coming weeks as it predicts rains. Joseph Potofi is director in charge of forecasting at the Ghana Meteorological Agency.
And then you can't do anything about it. However, we have storage facilities in Ghana that when food is in abundance, we buy them and store. As business people, as suppliers as we are, we have our strategies and we have our plans. And so before the thing starts, we already made our provisions. And then it's left with the government also to make its provisions. Because we as business people, we cannot control the weather, and it will have effect on our supply, of course, it will. But what is going to happen is it's going to shoot prices up because demand will be higher than supply. And so at times those of us who have storage facilities that we store items, we get the opportunity, we get the advantage. So with this situation happening, I believe immediately some steps should be taken by the state to ameliorate the situation, to see how we can cushion the system. Because the drought has happened about a month or two ago that the drought started. And if you look at the planting season and the period in the north, that time was the planting time when the drought started. So it has delayed the planting. However, if we should rain from now going, that means they have to start planting from now. And
when we did the forecasting for the northern sectors, normally because they have a mono or single rainfall, we normally separate them and they start late. So we do the forest area, the middle belt, and then the coastal area first. That was done around February. Then by May, we did the northern sectors seasonal forecast. And in the seasonal forecast, yes, we predicted that there will be dry spells for 28 days over the northern sectors. That will start from middle of July to all the way to August. And then what we saw was that instead of the 28 days, it went to 32 or 33 days. And we told the Ministry of Agric and their extension officers, we went around to the field itself to meet the extension officers and some of the farmers and then explain the forecast and the implications of the forecast to them.
And was this well before some of them even did their planting of their crops and what have you?
Oh, yes. In the northern sectors, they normally don't start before May because the rain will start there from May, June, and then going to July. So, yes, we way before they started doing the agronomics on the land.
Moving forward, what is the weather going to look like for the hard-hit areas as regards this drought?
Unfortunately, 3 days today, and there was heavy rainfall across the northern sectors of the country. And we are expecting, since we believe that the dry spell has ended, and once it has ended, the sea surface temperature has also picked up. So if they pick up very well, then there will be a lot of rains in those areas. What they can do, when you look at the seasonal forecast that we issued, we even put a footnote and specify some of the crops that they can grow with their advice from the extension officers.
Joseph Portofi is Deputy Director in charge of forecasting at the Ghana Meteorological Agency. And we apologize for the wrong insert in the first instance. Nana Ama Akwa is in the studio. And a lot of you have been reacting to this drought situation in the northern region and the potential it could have to bring about food shortages, something that the Agric Ministry is trying their very best to address. Some of you have been speaking about this on social media, and she's here to tell us what you've been saying. Nanama, what are people saying?
Well, it's food shortages and the possible rise in prices as well, because if there's shortage, there's going to be hoarding. If there's hoarding, the prices are likely to increase. So we go straight over to Facebook. Diogo says, I tell you, we will all start selling, especially food. Prof says, what happened to the Planting for Food and Jobs government program that you're threatening imminent food shortage? Jalal is very concerned. We also have here James. If there's anyone who isn't concerned, then I guess the person is a crocodile. We move over to Instagram, where Nee says, all I will say is that give someone something to eat if you can. I think this is the most tender-hearted message that I've read. Then we have also Abu Kari. When we said the system needs resetting, some said the system needs upgrading. Well, food prices have started their own upgrade. We have here Reverend Father, who says the venue I buy Kinky, just yesterday I got there and I was told there's no more 4 Ghana cedis unless 5 Ghana cedis and 7 Ghana cedis. I was like, how? Techiman, the supposed food hub of Ghana. Well, if the prices have started going up in Techiman, then I wonder when it gets down to Accra, what will happen? My name is Nanama Akwa. Lantam, back over to you.
Well, thank you very much. Imagine
Pleasure.
buying a bowl of kinky for 7 Ghana cedis.
I can't.
Just imagine that. Anyway, thank you, Nanama Aqua, there with your comments on social media. Now, the founder of the True Word Prophetic Fire Ministries, Prophet Nigel Gazy, has backed a decision by the NDC not to sign a peace pact. The largest opposition party has served notice that it will not sign the peace pact this year because it has failed to protect its sympathizers in the past. Prophet Gazy, who says the NDC's decision is right, also accused the National Peace Council of bias. He made these comments during a Peace Council meeting with prophets in Accra.
We cannot put the laws of Ghana in the hands of one so-called politician who feels superior or human than everybody. So my fathers here, my senior fathers here, peace cannot be found in the van. And I told the NDC that they should not sign the peace accord. The NDC, National Democratic Congress, His Excellency Dr. President Brahma should not sign the peace accord because it is as though the Peace Council of Ghana just favor just a few. It is as though the Peace Council of Ghana is in the pocket of this current regime. It cannot be so. We are all Ghanaians. We are all Ghanaians, and anything Ghanaian that is Ghanaian must be supported by all Ghanaians. So Peace Council, before I came, I put up a post on my page, on my Facebook page, and I said, I'm going to be the Ghana Peace Council. I tell you that when you go to my page, if it's 100, 99% of the people are saying that Peace Council is not working. So again, because of Papa here, I'm restricted.
Well, so that's Prophet Nigel Gazy at a meeting that the Peace Council convened with prophets, and the movement calling itself Group Stands for Peace, Growth and Development has criticized the decision by the NDC not to sign the peace pact. General Secretary of the group, Maxwell Kweku Adai Mununkum, is joining us for a quick chat on that. Maxwell, good afternoon. Welcome to the Starr Midday News. Thank you for joining us. The NDC says, despite signing the peace pacts in the past, some of its members were attacked during the last election, among other concerns that they have. Don't you believe these concerns are genuine? Hello, Maxwell. Can you hear me? Okay, I can't seem to hear Maxwell on the line. I will try and reach him again. Maxwell Kweku Adai Mununkum is the General Secretary of a group or a movement calling itself Group Stands for Peace, Growth and Development. And they have been criticizing the decision of the National Democratic Congress deciding not to sign a peace pact. We know that Johnson Asiedu Nketia, who is the national chairman of the NDC, had indicated earlier to the National Peace Council that they had some very serious concerns with regard to signing peace pacts. And they indicate that after signing peace pacts in the past, it didn't prevent any violence from happening in the election. They saw it happen in the 2020 elections, for example, where 8 people were killed. And up till now, investigations have not been concluded. And they've put forth certain demands that they want fulfilled, including a declaration from the president that he will be very, very committed to handing over power in the event that the NDC should win the election. And so putting out these conditions out there, they have asked that if these conditions are not met, or they've said that if these conditions are not met, they are not going to sign the peace pact. But before we get back to the phone line and speak to this group, the security analyst, Dr. Adam Bona, is questioning the impact of the peace pact on previous elections, saying a research needs to be conducted to assess its impact on elections, since all previous elections have been characterized with violence even after signing the document. He said apart from the optics that make it appear to be binding and prevent violence, it has not been useful over the years.
Apart from the optics, apart from making it look like once a peace pact is signed, then people unilaterally or people agree that there won't be violence. And so as far as I'm concerned, probably somebody would have to conduct some research since we started signing these peace pacts or agreements to see whether anytime we signed it, it's probably made people become more civil or politicians becoming civil.
Dr. Adam Bona is a security analyst, and we'll now get back to the phone line and speak to the General Secretary of the group. The group stands for Peace, Growth and Development, Maxwell Kweku Adai Mununkum. He's joining us for a conversation on this. Maxwell, welcome to the bulletin. The NDC has raised some concerns about peace pacts that have been signed in the past and violence still breaking out during elections, and so they don't want to sign this one. Do they not have legitimate concerns?
Thank you very much, Uncle Lantam, for having me. Let me use your platform to say good afternoon to all peace-loving Ghanaians. Yes, we have indicated as per our release that we agree with the concerns that they have raised, because it does appear that peace pacts that have signed in the past have yielded very little to no result. However, that does not, for want of a better word, that does not make the fact that we have signed in the past useless. In fact, if you have a political party in the stature of an NDC saying that they won't sign, it sends a certain negative signal to their members at the grassroots levels. And so what we are saying is that we are appealing to the NDC. Yes, they have a legitimate cause. The issues they have raised are ones that we as a peace-loving entity, we support 100%, because the issues they have raised have been our concern for the past, and we have been on the government to ensure the implementation of the recommendations of the Militia Commission, a committee that the government itself set up. So the question is, why set up a committee and then throw the recommendations away? So in as much as they have a legitimate cause, for the interest of the peace that we all enjoy, we are appealing to them to come to the table and sign while we are still engaging with the government to ensure that recommendations that have come in the past are implemented fully, and people that are supposed to be prosecuted for violations of the country or for engaging in acts that threatens the peace and security of this country are fully prosecuted.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to us. I'm pretty sure we'll engage you further in our subsequent bulletins, Maxwell. Very well. Now, the flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, has pledged to fix the poor road infrastructure in the Ashaiman constituency. This comes after some residents of Ashaiman Newtown expressed their frustration over being neglected in the distribution of the national cake. This sentiment arises after repeated calls after repeated calls, petitions, and demonstrations by residents for the road repairs and provision of potable water to be done, but these have gone unanswered. Now, speaking at a rally at Ni Amwe Park at Ashaiman Newtown as part of phase 1 of his Greater Accra Regional Campaign Tour, the former President John Dramani Mahama assured that the next NDC government would address the situation and create jobs for the youth in the area. Now, we're going to play to you a report which was filed by my colleague Abdul Hanan Adam, which of course catalogs or captures the tour of the former president.
Ashaiman has a lot of economic potentials, but lack a lot of basic social infrastructure, including potable water, road infrastructure, amongst others. A lot of the youth here lament that this lack of social infrastructure is affecting their economic livelihood, including lack of job opportunities.
Now, most of the youth here in this area, they are not doing anything. If Okada, you're not doing Okada, then you go to construction, and there's no development going on right now. You go to construction to go and do anything.
For no many because you have public facilities like like bad road. It's a biamo bahakra muntimi. It's also why the 2 pipe more a chance no baby sign. It's near brepa or shama happen.
The only problem I have is the road. It affects me in so many ways. Not even me alone, but everybody here, because of the bad road. Sometimes when you are going for an event or maybe meeting or something, it delays us, which is very bad.
But John Dramani Mahama, the flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, who visited the area as part of his Greater Accra Regional Campaign Tour, assured the people of the area that if elected into office come December 7, 2024, he would ensure that roads are constructed in the area.
Mekaya Abrayo Wabemu, Anye Ejuma wo Ashaiman High Street. Ye na ye fefe kama. And then so they Koshe High Street. Nobia yadia ejamawa. Maintenance kakra. Tokroba mwa o be fele no eno so ntimi nye. Ene High Street no ensem fata Ashaiman. Enso say na meka no nyame adom. NDC beba. Yeba be siesie kwai na mamo.
And that's a report by my colleague Abdul Hanan Adam. It's time now for us to bring you sports. Jones Aji is in the studio with the details. Jones, what's in sports?
All right, so let's start off from the Paralympic Games, where the 2024 Paralympic Games will begin today in France. Now, the opening ceremony is at 8 p.m. this evening, and of course, the closing ceremony would be on Sunday, the 8th of September. So the games would happen at the Stade de France, and the games will feature a record number of delegations and female athletes. Athletes will compete in 549 medal events spread across 22 sporting events. So Ghana's Frederick Assor will be in action tomorrow in the men's pursuit B of the track cycling, wishing the Ghanaian contingent all the best in the 2024 Paralympic Games. Now, Emma Raducanu was knocked out in the opening round of the US Open by Sophia Kenin in a battle of Grand Slam champions on Tuesday night in New York. Now, Raducanu had struggled to recapture the magic of a fairy tale run at the Flushing Meadows 3 years ago, when she became the first qualifier to win a Grand Slam. So, American Kenin sent Raducanu packing with a 6-1, 3-6-6-4 victory in front of a sparse crowd on grandstand. Kenin ripped through the opening set by winning 6 straight games before Raducanu, who reached the 4th round at Wimbledon this year, in the second set. So the Brits had missed 3 break points of her own in the first set, but made a move at the start of the second by taking Kenin's serve. All right, so that'll be all for sports, and the game would be at 1 p.m. this afternoon.
Very well. Thank you very much. Joe Saji with the latest in sports. Catch the game on GH1 TV and Starr 103.5 FM at 1 p.m. for more in sports. Now, the National Democratic Congress is questioning the credibility of the voters register ahead of the December polls. The party has pointed out 5 major discrepancies in the current electoral roll. The largest opposition party warns that failure by the EC to resolve the issued could mar the elections. Deputy Director of the party's IT department, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, spoke earlier on the Morning Star.
In fact, there are things which border on the integrity of the whole register. That needs serious audit, in fact, forensic audit of it. We know they've given us the TVR, that is the provisional voter register. After intense treks that we had to issue before they gave us the register on the 19th. We took time to study the register and then as well as deploy our party agents across to also observe the exhibited register by the East. My brother, we have uncovered 5 major discrepancies that have rendered the register ineffective for any serious election. 5 major serious discrepancies in the register. And because of that, we've written to the Electoral Commission seeking for an agent emergency meeting so that we can discuss this one and they will restore all these discrepancies, resolve them before we can get to December polls. Because without them being resolved, the register cannot be used for any purpose.
Well, he also says the inconsistencies in the register fuels the perception that the polls may not be free and fair.
This cannot be a genuine mistake. Look, in the electoral processes, we don't have mistakes, so we don't have errors. Errors are meant to rig elections. If you catch them, they will discard us as errors. If you don't catch them, it passes. That's the rule of election. We have been in this game for a very long time. There's no error in election. Anytime you see error, be very suspicious. Something sinister is about to be cooking somewhere. So if you don't leave it in the pan, it passes. It won't stop. You saw that thing they were changing results for 2020 and changing. Didn't it pass? They saw what was sitting at the president. Do you need to declare 3 different results to make the president? Do you need that? Why haven't they gazetted the 2020? Have you ever seen the gazetted results of the presidential results? Have you ever seen it? We are in the country called Ghana, and yet we are not interested in that. We won't take anything from them as error. It's a deliberate error meant to break elections, and they must correct it.
So, okay, you say they must correct it. So you said you are going to meet the EC. Has the EC agreed to meet you on these issues that you've raised?
We sent the letter on Monday. They received it. They acknowledged receipt of the letter on Monday. We are waiting for their response.
Okay.
Now, before we go, the Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafuewa, has reiterated the need for Assembly members to adhere to the minimum wage set for workers during the Ministry of Information's Meet the Press series held in Accra. To update Ghanaians on the developments in the employment, labor, and pension space. The minister also expressed his commitment to improving the current minimum wage for workers. And the minimum wage has been a bone of contention for quite some time now. And there have been many efforts underway to ensure that the minimum wage is raised. And Ignatius Bafuewa has been speaking about this.
Around 8 cities, but it has since moved up from 8 cities to 18 cities, even though I agree that it is still not the level that can make the worker comfortable. We are working towards improving it, but that is a record. When the minimum wage is determined, and I want to make this point quite clear, it will be unlawful for anybody that engages somebody to do some kind of work for him or her to pay that person below this agreed minimum wage. So if assemblies are indeed paying persons below the minimum wage, it is against the law. As such assemblies, I would direct the Chief Labor Officer to set the necessary applications on them, because it is unlawful for you to engage and pay the person below the minimum wages.
Ignatius Bafuewa was Minister for Employment and Labour Relations. And that's it for the Star Midday News here on Star 103.5 FM. For more news, log on to starfm.com.gh. My name is Lantam Papanko. Have a good day.
103.5.
Starr 103.5 FM, celebrating 10 years of resilience, impact, and excellence in broadcasting.
Starr 103.5 FM.